Hi, Henry. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I am great. How are you, Aaron?
I am really good. And you do a lot, out there. Like you're a writer, you're a public speaker, you're an advocate. And I really want to know, like, where does your desire to connect with people, educate, and learn, where does it all come from?
So, shockingly enough, a lot of my work is a love letter to my younger queer self. I came out in the 90s, so I experienced a different world than what a lot of queer people may experience today. Not saying that that diminishes anybody's hardships or hard times, but there wasn't an internet of people saying like, "Hey, this is how you do this, or this is how you do that, or this is how we understand this and understand that." And I just want to give people permission to make mistakes and learn, but then also save them the time that I was not afforded.
Mm. And you have written about a lot of different topics. I mean, from gender roles and relationships to your experience, living with being HIV positive, and one topic that you have discussed that we would like to try to jump into today is sex positivity. So throughout your work and your research and your writing, what exactly is sex positivity versus what is it not?
So this is coincidentally, I have penned an article about what is sex positivity that should be coming out within a month or two, and I think the thing just like an I statement, but should be the statement is that sex positivity involves anything that involves consent and allowing people to enjoy what they enjoy as long as consent is involved. Um, I am probably much more vanilla sexually than people may think. I just have a high frequency of sex, but even in that situation, people can judge me for that. They have judged me for it. But sex positivity should be primarily focused on consent and allowing people to enjoy the things that they enjoy. If you like, let's take it there. If you like scat play and that's what you enjoy, that is your business. That has nothing to do with me because you have consented to that. You have made a verbal agreement with whoever you're having sex with or engaging in sexual, things that's what you enjoy. It's not for me to have an opinion about what you do. And regardless if I enjoy it or don't enjoy it, that has zero to do with me. It doesn't change the status of my bank account. It doesn't change my own sex life. And it's important that people let people just exist. If that's what they love, that's what they like. If someone's a fendom and that's what they now, if I could be a fendom, because I need my bills paid, I would. Okay, let me talk about it. I would, but I don't judge people who do sex work. OnlyFans, like if you are into anything, I think the gray area sometimes where the concern comes in is when fetishization is involved and how how okay is fetishization when it's involving race or people's body types or things like that. That's a different thing of unpacking that people should have within those conversations when they like those things. But at the end of the day, if someone enjoys a thing and that's what they love, it's not my business to dismiss it or devalue it because I'm not into it too.
Right. And sometimes there seems to be this stigma or uncomfortableness talking about sex and the BIPOC and even the LGBTQIA plus community, especially even when we talk about women as well. Where does that discomfort come from, and how do we kind of shake that off so that we can become more comfortable? One, talking about sex, but even also two, being comfortable having conversations about sexual health and things like that.
Well, this what it's white supremacy. White supremacy. And let's hone in on what exactly does that mean. So I say white supremacy because I have a level of grace for BIPOC people, specifically Black people, people of color, immigrants, things like that, because there's a learning curve of information that we receive that white people automatically receive and are they have the privilege to receive. And there is this part of sexual education where you reach also parts of like conservativeness and religion where intersects where people do not get the information. And I find it disappointing that we are not allowing people to learn and educate them on things because of our own spiritual practices or our own political beliefs or just the whole fact of like me just being black and living possibly somewhere where there is a an educational desert of information. And also the larger part of some groups, specifically with queer groups, we have a stopgap in information due to the AIDS crisis. So a lot of our oral history about sex and teaching each other things stopped once a litany of us died all those years ago. And I find it important that we continue to educate people and teach people things, but not project our own. Well, I'm a Christian, and I don't think you should know about these things. And the thing that's also like harmful too is that if parents, or let's just say in the home, if you're not giving your kids the tools to go out to the world and be prepared for these things, they get the information from people who are not prepared. And the last thing that I would need as 60-year-old Henry is 70-year-old Tamika or 70-year-old, Derek telling me, yeah, like, if you're gonna do this sexually, you have to do it this way. And that's how it was done. And forums like people having really bad ideas about what sex is supposed to look like, even around the comfort and joys of sex, what consent looks like. If she's been drinking and she like kisses you, she might want it or whatever. Those things happen, and it's important to ground people in the truth and present them with real scientific information that will serve them, and even beyond just sex. Managing identities, and to make sure that like you may grow up in a society where you believe that everyone is cis, that everybody's heterosexual. What happens when your kid leaves the enclave that y'all live in to go to a college that's somewhere else? They're going to interact with people that they have very different lived experiences. Have you prepared them for that? And that's a question that like, do you want your child or the one that you're taking care of to have the best tools to exist? And it's not fair to assess that you don't need to know these things. And luckily I was gifted with a mother who had an open door policy about those things, but even she felt like she didn't have all the tools. So she was like, well, you want to go to sex education, take sex ed and learn what you want to learn. I support it because I may not know everything. And that's a very real thing, especially like me being the only boy with 3 older sisters. Like,
Well,
what do you know about?
right. Well,
Go
even
ahead.
oh, sorry. I was gonna say, even like similar to you, like my mom and I, we had a very open and honest conversations about sex and whatnot, especially because she worked in public health, especially in the early '90s. So she was always very determined as I was growing up to make sure that I knew, like you said, that scientific, that fact-based information, so that I didn't go somewhere and get this whatever information from someone else. And I think even so, growing up, here I am growing up in Southwest Virginia, then I go off to college in Richmond, even though we still had those open conversations, I was still kind of like, whoa. I was like, what do you,
Right,
for me,
right.
what do you mean Black people can be Catholic? Like it's just even stuff like that, and it's true. You have to have those open conversations with your families about these things so that they understand. Henry, I want to thank you personally. Thank you so much for educating me and also educating our viewers. And again, let people know where they can find your article. You said it's coming out in about a month about
Yeah,
sex.
about a month. Yeah, maybe like in 4 weeks, maybe like max. Um, but there should be an article about sex positivity coming out soon on the body, and then of course I'm on social media as Just Sex Henry everywhere.
And thanks so much for watching Advocate today. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to stream us live, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. For the Advocate channel, I'm Aaron Dean.